The next presentation is from Benin. Genevieve Tchigossou is going to treat us to how minimal tillage and intermittent flooding can reduce malaria in Benin and maybe in all of West Africa.
Minimal tillage and intermittent flooding is likely to reduce Anopheles breeding site and densities in rice-fed agro-ecosystems. We know that rising of production of rice due to population growth is not without public health issues. And poor irrigation systems, such as excess watering and continuous flooding and excessive tillage, increase water births in agricultural settings, and this increased breeding sites for mosquito proliferation of malaria vectors. Hence, there is a need to introduce new approaches for malaria vector control based on improved agricultural practices. The objective of our work was to implement and assess the potential of minimal tillage and intermittent flooding to reduce malaria vector density and malaria risk in rice fields of Malanville in the northern Benin. Especially, we investigate on current practices for land use and water management in target rice agro-ecosystem. We perform field tests and confirm the efficacy of our technology in the reduction of mosquito breeding sites and the proliferation of Anopheles larvae. We also sensitize farmers on the link between poor agricultural practices and increased malaria risk and strengthen existing dialogue between agriculture, environment, and health sectors for improving agricultural practices and reducing malaria risk in wet agro-ecosystem. Firstly, we conducted baseline investigation on land use and water management through direct observation and tillage system, information of tillage system and tillage equipment were recorded. We also collected data on malaria prevalence in Malanville to make the correlation between rice production period and malaria cases. And farmers were interviewed on awareness and attitude and prevention of malaria in rice area through administration of questionnaire. The second activity was to implement our technology, the minimal tillage and the intermittent flooding. And for this, test and control plots were selected, and 5 assays were performed. Intermittent flooding was combined with minimal tillage and deep tillage usually used by farmers and poor leveling and normal leveling. And the continuous flooding was also associated with deep tillage and minimal tillage with poor leveling and normal leveling. And each assay were repeated 3 times. The test plots were emptied on weekly for 3 days basis to avoid mosquito larvae to complete their life cycles, whereas in the control plot, traditional practices were used, deep tillage and continuous flooding. And finally, then we evaluate the performance of our technology on Anopheles larva development in rice farming, and also by field school approach with the farmer and direct observation and description of breeding sites, larva development in selected plots and control plots. The quantification of larval densities in selected test and control plots was done, and we assessed the larval density throughout the complete cycle for rice development. We also sensitized farmers on existing link between poor agricultural practices and increased malaria transmission by training them on improved soil and water management technologies for reduced Anopheles larva development in rice fields. The results obtained were as follows. In rice field of Malanville, deep tillage with poor leveling is the tillage system used, and the tillage equipment were hoe, tractors, and plow. The permanent irrigation is the water management used in the rice agro-ecosystem, and the water is pumped from the Niger River with motor pump. Data collected on malaria prevalence in Malanville district shows that malaria cases were high in Malanville than surrounding localities, and two peaks occurred, the first in July due to the rice production, and the second in September due to the rice and rainfall. And we also noticed that only 8.65 farmers goes to hospital in case of malaria. When larval density was monitored throughout the developmental cycle of rice, we noticed that when the first graph showed the density, the mean number of total larvae, and the second, the mean number of Anopheles larvae. When intermittent flooding was introduced, we noticed a decrease in the larval density, especially a significantly decrease of Anopheles larval density. And when minimal tillage is combined with intermittent flooding, there is a significant decrease in overall larval densities. And the main factor of this reduction is due to the non-availability of water, which doesn't allow mosquitoes to complete the developmental cycle. And the same trend was observed tillering period and the maturation period of rice. In conclusion, minimal tillage and intermittent flooding and deep tillage with intermittent flooding have same performance in reducing Anopheles larva density, and regardless of the type of tillage, intermittent flooding significantly reduces larva density, which could lead to the reduction of malaria cases. The adoption of these technologies require a strong awareness of farmers. Thank you.